Buyers, choose the blended version with extra CoQ10 or the standard version. The blended version is the most popular. Right, stay with us. Lots still to come. Final opportunities for April for Choco Nouveau, the world's most delicious gourmet chocolate that's also heart healthy and can lower cholesterol. That is coming up next. But next up, I said last night, I made Andrew chuckle. I said on the Mount Rushmore of Andrew Lessman products, there would be Andrew's Maximum Omega-3 because this is the best fish oil. Andrew, I always, you know, you believe in second chances. A lot of people have tried a fish oil and they say, I'm never trying another because I can't stand the aftertaste.
Well, when it comes to fish oil, if we just think about what it is, it's going to be pretty unpleasant. I remember as a kid, cod liver oil. Cod liver oil, it's just, it's nasty. And folks, if anyone's taking cod liver oil, you have to be very careful, especially if you're giving it to kids, because it could have extraordinarily high levels of vitamin A. And those extraordinary high levels of vitamin A can cause hepatotoxicity, liver toxicity in children. So be very wary of like there's recent stuff in the news about taking high levels of vitamin A for measles and things like that. And you need to be really careful doing that because vitamin A is the one nutrient. That's why we don't use any preformed vitamin A. We use all carotenoid vitamin A in my products because preformed vitamin A comes with a risk of toxicity. And if you give high levels of cod liver oil to children, and I digress here, it could have risks of liver toxicity. But what I wanted to do is just read some reviews on our Maximum Essential Omega-3 because it's a product that when we look at most omega-3 products, we expect them to be sort of nasty, unpleasant, difficult to swallow. They come in large capsules. They don't need to come in large capsules. We get 500 milligrams, that's 50% more than the typical omega-3, in a small capsule. It's just more expensive to get the more concentrated sources of omega-3. My little capsule, it's about a little bit more than half the size of the typical capsules. And if we look at a large bowl, if we kind of put them next to each other, you get an appreciation of the difference in size. But when you look at my omega-3 versus theirs, it's smaller. Mine will never upset your stomach. And it will never have a fishy aftertaste or fishy repeat. A lot of people think when I say that I'm saying we reduce the possibility or reduce the likelihood of a fishy aftertaste or repeat. No, we have eliminated the possibility of a fishy aftertaste or repeat. I say that with absolute and complete confidence because it's not some technology that we're utilizing to reduce that. It's Mother Nature doing her the amazing work she does if we pay attention to what her capabilities are. So our omega-3s, we have a special extract from the rind of a special orange. And that special extract just happens to have an affinity for that fishy odor and fishy taste, and they cancel each other out. They absolutely neutralize each other. When I was testing it, much to my disbelief, I would take a handful of capsules on an empty stomach and not a hint of any kind of fishy taste. So you will be astounded. Also, our omega-3s, as I said, it's a small capsule. You get everything you need in 1 or 2 capsules. Most folks are recommended by their doctors, or if you look at the different organizations, American Heart Association will recommend 500 milligrams a day of omega-3s. That's what we get in a single capsule, so you don't have to take multiple capsules. If your doctor, your cardiologist, your neurologist might recommend 1,000 milligrams a day, simply 2 capsules. Those are the typical recommendations. And again, my products will never upset your stomach, will never have a fishy aftertaste. And most importantly, we target the most important of the omega-3s. The typical fish oil product is a commodity product made by a handful of contract manufacturers, and the industrial standard, not the natural standard, the industrial standard is high levels of EPA followed by DHA. EPA, Eicosapentaenoic Acid, DHA, Docosahexaenoic Acid. We do it the other way around. Why? Because that's what Mother Nature requires. If you look at the composition of your brain, it's almost entirely DHA, only traces of EPA. If you look at the composition of your eye, the retina of your eye, almost entirely DHA, only traces of EPA. If you look at your heart, a higher percentage of DHA than EPA. So if you're looking at your body to determine what you should consume, and I think that's a good place to start because that's where we're consuming it, and it's almost so common sense. It's almost funny, except for the fact that 99% of the omega-3 capsules sold in America favor EPA over DHA. Wow. Mine is the exception to that rule, but mine is the exception because our body is the exception. Our brain, our eyes, our heart favor DHA. Mother Nature favors DHA. It's just an old industrial commodity, typical, ordinary standard that has all of us swallowing these difficult to swallow, fishy aftertaste, high in EPA rather than DHA products. So we do it correctly, and there's always one way. I always say there's only one way to do things correctly. And if you're getting higher levels of EPA than DHA, you're not doing it correctly.
I think for so many of us, we're tired of, products or brands that take the shortcut rather than that long route, because we know the long route is where we want to go because it leads to greater success, and the shortcuts are not best for us. And that's why when Andrew explains the difference between EPA and DHA, it's important that we know that, because there are millions of people that are going out right now in stores all across America buying fish oil products that don't know that difference. And that's why Andrew has been on the airwaves over all these years, because it's the information that he is able to impart to us. I want to tell you about the information I can share with you, and that is the price. One day, one chance, once a year, we have Andrew's Omega product, the best fish oil in the world today, at the lowest price of 2025. Not only that, but a specialty size of
lowest price ever.
Lowest price ever on the two sizes. And Andrew, you did that last year against all odds. You've been able to maintain that lowest price.
Last year I had said, because we learn what kind of harvest they're having in terms of harvesting the fish that give rise to this. And of course, we only harvest our omega-3s environmentally responsibly. They're third-party certified that they're done environmentally responsibly. Everything is purified so that there's no traces of heavy metals or organic contaminants. We even assay things in-house further to make sure that everything meets the highest standards of purity. But as I said last year, the harvest was not a good harvest, and I expected that we would not be able to continue to offer this at the best price ever, which I just got done saying that in the large size or Essential 1, that's the best cost per capsule since I introduced the product 46 years ago. And I can say the same thing now for our omega-3s. So it's, and we've heard about inflation ever since COVID was here, but I've done my very best. We hear about tariffs, and tariffs have existed for the last, couple of administrations, so tariffs have existed, but I've done my very best, because tariffs are a charge on the consumer. Tariffs are a charge on the company that's bringing in the materials from outside the country. So tariffs, unfortunately, are a tax on the consumer. But I do my very best, because we are the manufacturer, to insulate you from those kinds of taxes and tariffs and escalations of cost. And that is why this product this year, much to my surprise, is being offered at our best price ever, as it was last year. So you get your full 500 milligrams of omega-3s, DHA favored over EPA, again, because that's the only way to deliver the superior product. All natural triglycerides, not synthetic ethyl esters. Most products are synthetic ethyl esters. So for pennies a day, again, you're getting the best 500 milligrams of omega-3s you'll find anywhere. I just wanted to, again, summarize omega-3s. We have the pathway, the omega-3 pathway in your body going upwards. And this is the end of the pathway, Docosahexaenoic acid. It's the top of the mountain. It's the pinnacle of the peak. It's the summit. It's the top of the pyramid. It's the most expensive of the omega-3s, DHA. And then we also offer in our product the Docosapentaenoic acid. And then, of course, Eicosapentaenoic acid. Most products offer you this. We favor this over that. And again, the reason why. And then a lot of times you'll read about, say, nuts contain high levels of alpha-linolenic acid. It's an essential omega-3 fatty acids. Flaxseed, high levels of alpha-linolenic acid. But your body struggled to convert alpha-linolenic acid to EPA and struggle even more to convert it to DHA. DHA, as I said, that is really the summit. That's the peak. And your body can use DHA to create the other omega-3 fatty acids that it needs. So we make sure that the principal fatty acid in your brain, again, remember, your brain, it might not be fun to think about it this way, but your brain is 2/3 fat. The dry weight of your brain is 2/3 fat. I think 98, 99% of it is DHA, Docosahexaenoic acid. That's what we focus on. We focus on the top of that metabolic pathway, the most elusive part of that metabolic pathway. That is where we focus. Unfortunately, it's not where others focus. They use synthetic ethyl esters. They principally offer Eicosapentaenoic acid, not the DHA, the Docosahexaenoic acid. So again, if you want it done correctly, as they often say, you have to do it yourself. So the typical commodity, ordinary, industrial standard omega-3 products do not do what we do. And that is why my omega-3 product is virtually perfectly reviewed. They always talk about what product people are the most disappointed in when they buy in terms of vitamin supplements. Typically, it's omega-3s because of the fishy aftertaste, upset stomach, difficulty swallowing, repeats, and things like that, but not on mine. My product is about a 98% positive reviews and over 80% perfect 5-star reviews.
I mean, you can't argue with that. And you can see them all right now online at hsn.com. Clock is ticking down. Time really does fly. I want to show you, again, lowest pricing ever, $360 or $720. That's where the pricing will be when the today's special is over. I don't want you to pay that when you can pay this. But again, it's one shot, one time, one chance. $309.90 down to $129.90. Again, saving you more than you're spending. A huge opportunity to try it, even if you're still skeptical. And Andrew encourages all of us to certainly be thoughtful of what we buy. Try it. If you experience any fishy aftertaste, you're going to call us and get all your money back. But that's just not the case.
And again, when it comes to omega-3s, omega-3s are not, so many vitamin companies position their products as sort of like drugs and medicines that work on the body. Omega-3s are not a drug or medicine that work on your body. They are your body. They're the principal component in your brain, principal component in your eye and the retina of your eye. That's why it shouldn't be surprising at all when you look at epidemiology, which my favorite type of science. A lot of people love double-blind clinical studies where they have a control group and an experimental group and they dose them differently and they see the outcomes. What I love is looking at large populations. And looking at large populations and seeing how different behaviors give rise to different results. That's how we've discovered that smoking is not good for us, that alcohol is not good for us. You look at populations of people that engage in those behaviors and who do not. But when you look at populations that have a rich complement of omega-3 fatty acids in their diet or supplemented, that's a population that you want to be a part of. When you look at the aging brain, when you look at the aging of the eye, when you look at the aging heart and cardiovascular health, the people with an abundance of omega-3 fatty acids like DHA and EPA in their diet, these are folks who have better outcomes. That's a club that I want to be a member of. So unfortunately, because I don't eat fish every day, I make sure that I get my omega-3 fatty acids from an absolutely pure, reliable source in their natural form, following the natural balance, following the blueprint in my body. This is a perfect example of one of my favorite sayings, is my job in making my products is to pay as careful attention as I can to Mother Nature. And then as careful as I pay attention, I need to get out of her way. And with this product, that is exactly what we do. We follow her blueprint, and then we get out of her way and deliver all the goodness of omega-3s without any of the problems that most people have learned to just hate about omega-3s, but you won't experience here.
We're going to say no to contaminants, no to mercury, no to fishy aftertaste, no to repeating on you all day long and all night. And we're going to say yes to a smaller, more potent omega product and a more beneficial omega product. I want to show you this. I loved doing this last night. Here are the usual suspects. Most of the omega products you buy right now in the stores, you can see they are much larger. And they're also different colors. I want to show you what a bowl of sunshine looks like, because this is Andrew's product, which is just Andrew, night and day difference. Can you share with everybody again why yours looks just like the most glorious sunshine color and the other guys are all kind of dark and strange looking?
Well, again, that's because we get out of Mother Nature's way. When you don't add any kind of waxes or other ingredients or colors and additives, this is just the pure beauty of Mother Nature. There's no other ingredients in my product other than a highly concentrated source of the natural form of the omega-3s you want, following her beautiful, wonderful balance. It's as beautiful as nature allows it to be. And again, that's just purity at work. So it really speaks volumes. What I was going to do is just read a couple of charts here and a couple of reviews before we run along to Choco Nuvo, probably the last airing of Choco Nuvo before summer. But if we look here, and just so you understand that omega-3s are not something that I made a big deal about talking about. Certainly, I've been talking about them on TV for 35 years. And since I started my company 46 years ago, I've talked about how important they are long before anyone else. But there's been more than 33,000 papers published on the benefits of omega-3 fatty acids. And also among them are 6,000 meta-analyses and systematic reviews. So there's no drug, pharmaceutical medication. You probably take the 100 most popular medications, including aspirin, which has been studied thousands of times, and it won't come close to that. More than 4,000 human clinical trials have been published on the benefits of consuming omega-3 fatty acids. Every time I talk about it, I just glance through some of the abstracts, the summaries of some of the studies. And again, you would not want to be a member of the club that doesn't have an abundance of omega-3 in your diet every day. And with my product, because it's so concentrated, it's a single, small, easy to swallow capsule that'll never upset your stomach. And maybe just a couple of reviews before we run along. Oh, just as another chart that just talks about, there's only 2 ingredients I can say this about, CoQ10 and omega-3s, that they both exert a positive influence on triglyceride levels, blood pressure levels, blood cholesterol levels, blood sugar levels. We all try to keep them in the normal range. This is a tool that helps you keep them there. So another wonderful benefit. Oh, and we talk about they can't be made by the body. They must come from diet or supplements. You should get them every day. Ours have no fishy aftertaste, no repeat, no stomach upset, no mercury, lead, or heavy metals, no PCB dioxins or contaminants, no big capsules to swallow. But just some reviews. Amazing fish oil. I've been using this product for many years, and it's the only omega-3 product I will buy. I love many of Andrew's vitamins, and I only wish I could afford to buy more of them. But this, I always buy when he does the Today Special each year, and it's a great opportunity to stock up. Keep bringing your great vitamins to HSN, Andrew. That's from Daisy May in New York. Love these. One reason I always order Andrew Lessman's vitamins is because I know the product is manufactured in a clean U.S. factory. The other reason is they do not have an aftertaste and do not upset my stomach, worth the cost. And again, everything is made here in the United States of America, not what other companies can necessarily say. Great amounts of DHA. It's the most important of the omega-3s. Most products, they're mostly EPA. I'd say 98% of products are mostly EPA. I've been using this omega-3 supplement for a few years. I had taken other brands for less cost. I finally figured out the actual amounts of the DHA in the other brands I'd been taking, only to figure out that this was a better deal. A much better deal. Plus, no other fillers. Little by little, I've converted most of the supplements I take to Andrew's brand. Thank you, Andrew, as well as HSN. But I think we need to run along for our last conversation about Choco Nuvo.
We could go on all night, though. It never gets old hearing what you guys are saying and have said for all these years. Well, look, it's been a busy day. It's getting late.